Sox might not suck this year.
This is the Baseball Hour with Tony Mazz.
Me.
Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moonlight, Wellesley Testosterone, find MazzMoney.com, and by Golf. On Boston's home for sports. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
At what point did you know Christian was ready? We don't know if he's ready, right? About, performing here, but we do believe, his athleticism, controlling the strike zone, they're going to play here, and obviously last year, with Rafaela, we played with him, we helped him out, and he had a pretty decent season, right? And we expect the same thing. Go out there, have fun, be an athlete, and good things are going to happen.
It's poor audio quality, but it's the best we can do here on opening day. Alex Cora pregame asked about Christian Campbell. We'll play his answer for you again, because, again, the quality wasn't great. I'll spell it out for you exactly what Cora said, because I thought it was an interesting remark. So here's what we're going to do tonight on the Baseball Hour. Obviously, the Red Sox are ongoing, still on the field. They are in the bottom of the seventh inning right now in Texas. 2 outs, nobody on. Garrett Whitlock on the mound. The game is tied at 2. 2-2 in the bottom of the seventh. Whitlock in relief of Garrett Crochet, trying to obviously put the Red Sox in a position, or keep the Red Sox in a position to win this game. So you want to talk baseball? We can do that. Certainly there's been a lot that's happened in this game up to now that allows us to dig in a little bit on sort of how the Red Sox have looked here on opening day. Nathan Eovaldi was the starter for the Rangers. Again, Garrett Crochet was the starter for the Red Sox. And I can tell you, without doing too much play-by-play, they are now going on to the 8th inning, the game tied at 2. 617. Jimmy, I'm drawing a blank. 617-779-0985. 617-779-0985. I had the call line in my head, Murray. 931-0985, which is now going to confuse people that I said it. 617-779-0985 is your number here on the show. So here's where I want to begin. We'll get to Campbell's debut. We'll get to Rafael Devers' debut. We'll get to Garrett Crochet's debut. Usage of Alex Cora, of that bullpen, or bullpen usage by Alex Cora in this game. There was an interesting decision that Cora made in the 7th inning with the go-ahead run aboard and a player at the plate that he might normally have pinch hit for that he did not. And we'll get to all of that. But let me start here with Christian Campbell. Christian Campbell, again, making his major league debut, and this part of the story to me is significant. Campbell did not have a good spring. If we were to ask who the best candidate was at second base to start the year based on the performance on the field at spring training, the guy who earned the job was Marcelo Meyer. Marcelo Meyer had an exceptional camp. Defensively, he's as polished as he is offensively. He carried over that camp into the 2 games in Mexico, and certainly Meyer would have warranted the job based on performance on the field, but he bats left-handed. Campbell got the job. Campbell started at second base today and interestingly batted 6th. He had been hitting 8th the final week or so in spring training. They decided to move him up to 6th. I think in this game, and I'm going to punch up the box score just to make sure I get it right, but Campbell is 0 for 2 with a walk. And he struck out in his first at-bat on what I thought was a bad pitch, kind of up and in, but he swung the bat and missed at it. It was a breaking ball from Nathan Eovaldi, and really kind of got himself out, frankly. But again, first big league at bat. I'm just giving you the lowdown on it in case you didn't see the game or haven't been paying attention to the game. So that's number one. But back to the comment Cora made before the game, before the Red Sox even took the field against the Rangers. Now, the audio, again, is not great, so you have to listen closely. And really, the beginning part is just the most significant part. The question here asked of Cora is, when did you realize that Christian Campbell was ready to play in the big leagues? Okay, that's the question in case you can't make it out, and listen closely to his answer.
At what point did you know Christian was ready? We don't know if he's ready, right? About, performing here, but we do believe, his athleticism, controlling the strike zone, they're going to play here, and...
We can stop there. Thank you, Jimmy Stewart. So Cora admits, which I thought was interesting, we don't know if he's ready. I guess we're going to see based on his performance, and I added that last part. But Cora essentially admitting we don't know. He might not be ready, which again should tell you a couple of things. First and foremost, the Red Sox made this decision before camp. As long as the kid didn't completely collapse, he was going to get the job at second base. So we don't know if it's ready, but we believe in his athleticism. And we believe in his controlling of the strike zone. That's what Cora's comment was. Meaning they didn't think that Campbell was necessarily going to get himself out, swinging at bad pitches, and they don't think that he will be a liability defensively. So they are going to let him struggle here in the early going at the big league level. There might be a number of reasons for this. It was an interesting story in Mass Live a few days ago. I mentioned it. I'll repeat it again. And I think I initially mentioned it on Felger and Mazz. I don't know that I mentioned it on last night's baseball hour. But with the way the rules are in MLB now, if Christian Campbell wins the Rookie of the Year award this year, the Red Sox will be granted a draft pick between the first and second rounds, a sandwich pick. Really at the end of the first round, which could be as high as the late 20s, depending on how free agency goes and whether teams lose picks in free agency, but you get the idea. There's a game there for the Red Sox. It's a good incentive for teams to have to be able to win back a draft pick by playing a rookie, because too many teams were manipulating service time and preventing rookies from getting on the field. So that's number one. Secondly, again, it tells you they're willing to let him make his mistakes. And I should add, by the way, that if he finishes in the top 3 of the MVP voting in his first 3 years in the big leagues, that the Red Sox will get the same draft pick. So there are advantages to them playing him early in the season. Now, Campbell, if you ask me in this game, has looked a little shaky, at least until his final at-bat. In his first at-bat, as I mentioned, he had a couple of strikes on him. Nathan Eovaldi threw a breaking ball on what I think was a 1-2 or a 2-2 count. And the ball was up and in. It was off the plate. Campbell waved at it and struck out. So for a guy who, again, they're expecting to control the strike zone, I thought it was a poor decision to swing at that ball. I didn't think it was a really hittable pitch. The ball hung a little bit, but it sort of tied Campbell up. He'd have been better off taking the pitch. He did not, and struck out.
Tony, Campbell's control of the strike zone was lacking in this game. He grounded out on the next pitch that was in his next at bat on the same type of pitch. It was a 77-mile-an-hour curveball, and he just looked defensive at the plate. That's what I've seen in these 3 at bats from Campbell. Is he's looked defensive at the plate, no control over the strike zone.
Yeah, so again, he might be looking. He might have been looking fastball on those 2 pitches. And Jimmy, thank you for that. By the way, because obviously we were on the air today, so Jimmy Stewart was able to keep a closer eye.
But it was his first at bat, Mazz. It was 95, 95, 94, and then the curveball that got him out at 77 on the inside. He looked lost there.
Yeah, so he was handcuffed, probably wasn't expecting it, saw nothing but fastballs. It was a 1-2 pitch, obviously, if it was the 4th pitch of the at-bat. He ended up striking out. The more relevant thing to me is defensively, he looked a little shaky. Now, don't take that to mean anything other than the kid has jitters on opening day, which I would expect. We'll get a better read on it. He didn't look great defensively early in spring training, then got his feet under him a little bit and was better at the end of camp. So he wouldn't be human if there weren't jitters. But I'm just going to tell you what I saw. The first ball hit to him on the right side of the infield was an easy, routine, high bouncer. In fact, I don't know if it gets much easier. It was a pretty basic routine play, and he kind of muffed it.
He should have been able to tag the runner or step on second base. Instead, he's throwing a panic ball to Casas at first base for the putout in the end of the inning.
Exactly right, Jimmy. So what happened was the ball hit his glove. He just didn't handle it properly, and it fell to the turf or to the dirt. He then had to pick it up quickly, rush the throw, and get the runner by a half step. I think he was about 2/3 of the way between first and second. So my point is, it was a short throw. It was an easy throw, but he had to hurry it up because he dropped the grounder. So he looked jittery. And then there was a play, I want to say a couple of innings later, where he had to range to his left, had plenty of time, and had to turn his body a little bit to make the throw, and kind of threw awkwardly where he yanked it. The ball wasn't in the dirt. It was low and to the right of Tristan Casas. It wasn't a horrible throw. Casas caught it. It was an out. But again, he just didn't look fluid to me. And Jimmy, I would say based on what you're telling me, he didn't look fluid in the batting box either.
No, his second at bat, Eovaldi threw him mostly off-speed pitches at 90, 88, 77 for a curve, 92, and then the ground out, it was 87. It was way inside. It was similar to the strikeout pitch in the first at bat. And he just had an awkward swing. Didn't even come close to barreling it up. It was a weak ground ball down the line to the third baseman. He just didn't look like he had control of the strike zone in those at bats.
He really wasn't. He didn't look very fluid in this game at all, frankly. And the one thing I will add is that in his final at bat, he got to the plate in a situation where I think there were 2 outs at the time, nobody on base. The
5-pitch walk.
Yeah, the 2 guys before him had already made outs. So that'd be the number 4 and 5 hitters. That's Story and Casas. And Campbell, showed patience. He took a walk.
But those pitches weren't even close against a left-handed pitcher.
I agree, Jimmy, but I will also say that early in the game, I didn't think the first pitch to Eovaldi was close, and he swung at it. So he clearly just calmed down at least a little bit, if not entirely. And then there was a balk that got him to second base where he was stranded, which brings me to Alex Cora's managerial decision. So we'll get to Cora's managing. I see a couple of you on the line. We'll take your calls. And also, probably the bigger story of the day, the debut of Rafael Devers as a designated hitter. And believe me when I tell you, it was hardly impressive. They're now in the bottom of the 8th in Texas, still 2-2. Aroldis Chapman on the mound for the Red Sox. But we'll fill you in on Devers when we come back.
take a young player like Rafi Devers and say DH, you're also saying go back and eat. You're not moving your body. You're not doing the things. We watch it with Vlad. We watch it with the young David Ortiz. You watch it with players. I watched it happen on guys I played with. You can't take a young guy and think he's going to be active and he'll continue moving.
Right,
and he's not going to gain weight. This is the guy we're going to get. No. You're putting him in a health situation.
It's like Pablo Sandoval 2.0. He's DHing, so he's in the clubhouse.
And I think they overlooked that. That's a fact. That happens.
Harold Reynolds of the MLB Network. And before we get to Devers' performance today, which the game is still ongoing, just updating everybody here. It's now 2-2 in the ninth inning in Texas. Tristan Casas looks like he's at the plate leading off. Aroldis Chapman came in and pitched the bottom of the eighth. The belief was that he was going to close for the Red Sox to start the year. Cora brought him in the eighth inning of a tie game and did so with the 2, 3, and 4 hitters up in the Texas lineup. Chapman gave up one hit, did not walk anybody, and threw 7 strikes and 11 pitches. And I've told you this. I hate Aroldis Chapman. I hate the way he pitches. He looked good today. The ball was down. It was around the plate. The contact against him, the hit he gave up was on a broken bat. The bat shattered, which you're going to see a lot of with Chapman because he's that overpowering. But Jimmy Stewart, the fact that Chapman came into that game when he did, what does it signify for you?
It might mean that they're either doing bullpen by committee and they didn't tell us, or that Justin Slayton, who is currently warming up in the top of the ninth inning, is the true closer of this team.
So either way, it's notable. And Jimmy's dead on, by the way, because again, with the meat of the order due up for Texas, 2, 3, 4, Cora went to his best reliever. If Chapman was truly the closer, then Slayton would have come in the game because there's a chance the Red Sox then go ahead in the top of the ninth. You're on the road. Your closer's going to have to – you're not going to win on the road in all probability of a game like this unless without a save situation is the point. At home, you want to bring your closer in the bottom of the ninth of a tie game? No problem. You win that game, there's not going to be a save situation. Or the top of the ninth, I should say. But in this case, Cora elected to bring Chapman into the game, which again, and Jimmy's right about this, tells you one of two things. Either Chapman closing is bullcrap, and they're going with closer by committee, and Justin Slayton's going to come in the ninth because they're at a softer part in the batting order, or they were going to close Slayton anyway. And Cora just didn't want to put pressure on him in his season opening debut, or it is, debut as a closer is what I should say. And I wouldn't rule this out. So, by the way, I will say, if Slayton is going to close, and Cora did this on purpose and lied to everyone about Chapman being his closer, I actually commend Cora for it. And I'll tell you why. Because if Cora named Slayton the closer 3 days ago, or even before the game, or a day ago, whatever, the media is immediately going to go to Slayton and start asking him questions about it and taking on the responsibility. And now it sort of builds up the challenge for the kid. Back in 2006, Keith Folk had a rough camp and was ailing and wasn't right. He had a bad spring. The Red Sox went into that season, and on opening night in Texas, Papelbon came out of the bullpen to close. Everybody was surprised. And I remember there being a lot of discussion in the press box at that time that it was a bad move by Francona because he ran the risk of losing Folk if he was bypassing him and giving the save to someone else, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not telling you this just to tell you I was right, although that's probably part of it. I remember having a discussion with someone in the press box and said, this is a good move. You can't give games away in the regular season. They all count. So if you're in a position to win and you don't have confidence in a guy, you bring the other guy in. Papelbon closed, they won the game. As it turned out, Francona had already discussed it with Folk, and the players knew what was going to happen in that situation. So again, we'll see whether or not Cora went to those lengths in this particular game. And there's some interesting stuff that Cora has done in this game as well. And Dean and Shrewsbury, I see you on the line, so just sit tight for 1 second. The other interesting decision with Cora came in the Jimmy, was that the 7th inning? I think that Campbell led off with a walk. Or,
7th inning, yes.
7th inning where he didn't lead off. He had a 2-out walk. Campbell got on at a 2-out walk. There was a
balk that got him to second base.
Correct. A balk advanced him to second, and there was a left-hander on the mound for the Rangers. I think it was Robert Garcia with Wilyer Abreu due at the plate. Cora let Abreu hit. He ended up drawing a walk and getting on.
9-pitch walk, by the way.
It was a good at bat. He had a good at bat. But the reason that is notable is because Abreu has really not been allowed to hit much against lefties thus far in his career, and when he has, it's hit poorly. So Abreu, career batting average against left-handers is 183. Last year, he was 180. So the point being in 03-04, it's been consistent. He's been poor against lefties. He does sort of thrive on hitting the ball in the inner part of the plate. Garcia also better against lefties than righties. So everything screamed there for Rob Refsnyder, who kills left-handed pitching. Cora went with Abreu, and no small detail here that I'm about to give you. Abreu, 2 for 3 in this game with a home run. So swung the bat well. And then, by the way, so 2 for 3 with a walk, as it turned out. Jimmy, did he get another hit after that? I don't think he did. He hasn't been up again yet, right?
He's at the plate now.
Okay.
Or he's about to be up at the plate.
Okay, so
he's 2 for 2 with a walk and 2 runs scored.
Okay, so 2 for 2 with a walk. So Abreu's had a good game. Cora clearly sees something there. He let him bat against a lefty, and they got a walk out of it. Although I still think it's worth looking at and saying, was there any chance of Refsnyder getting a hit to give you the lead? In any case, a couple of interesting choices there by Cora in this game. We are taking calls, 617-779-0985. Dean's in Shrewsbury. Dean, what do you got?
I think that Crochet needs to come after the hitters a little more. I know he's a swing and miss pitcher who strikes out a lot of people, and even though he goes deep in counts, that he doesn't walk like anybody at all, even though he had 2 walks today. But I think the difference between being a pitcher that can go 5 or 6 innings every time out instead of a pitcher that can go like 4 or 5 like today is big over the course of the season. I'm just worried he's going to be throwing too many pitches and out of there in the 4th or the 5th inning too often.
Yeah, so Dean, it's a legit concern and it's a great question. So I think Crochet had thrown something like 47 pitches after 3 innings, or was it 2, Jimmy? I know he threw something like 22 pitches in the first. It was
22 pitches in the first, Tony. It was 47 in the second. And he was at 60 pitches after 3 innings.
Okay, so 22 in the first and then another 25 in the second to bring the total to 47, right? That's what you're saying?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so he ended up going 5 innings, but Dean in Shrewsbury's absolutely right. That's just too many pitches. Now, look, it settled down from there. He ended up throwing 88. He went 5 innings, so in the next 3, it was still, it wasn't horrible. It was 41 pitches, I guess, in the next 3 innings, which is a little more on pace. I thought the Rangers, in particular, there's one at bat in the first inning that I think went to 9 pitches. The Rangers did a pretty good job fighting them in this game. I think that was part of it. But Dean and Shrewsbury's point is absolutely dead on. So we're going to go to headlines here. Kevin Majori will get you caught up. We are going to get to Rafael Devers. I'll just tell you the game is still 2-2. They're in the top of the 9th. The Red Sox now have runners on first and third. Christian Campbell hit a ground ball to the left side that looked to me like an error by the third baseman. They may have given him a hit for his first big league hit. Jimmy, I don't know if you've seen an official scoring decision on that or not.
It's a hit.
Okay, so
kind of a cheapie, if you ask me.
It was a cheapie, not kind of. Should have been an error on the third baseman.
I'd complain to Major League Baseball on the official scores.
And is third baseman of Texas is Josh Jung, right? Is he still playing over there? So to me, that should have been an error. In any case, Campbell is now out of the game. The Red Sox have lifted him for a pinch runner. Hamilton is in there, which should tell you something. That's a significant piece of information, and it tells you about something about how the Red Sox view Christian Campbell. We'll get to that when we come back. Wilyer Abreu has just hit a 3-run home run to right field. So let's hang on here for a second, Jimmy. Abreu's second home run of the game, a 3-run home run to right center field, has given the Red Sox a 5-2 lead in the top of the 9th inning against the Texas Rangers.
That was smoked.
Here are your headlines. We'll be right back. And then one other decision that I think is very interesting. Christian Campbell got on base via what I'll call an infield hit, but frankly should have been an error as his first major league hit. That was just before the 3-run home run by Abreu. David Hamilton went into pinch run. And the game was still 2-2 at that time. I don't think that was about speed on the bases. I think that was about defense. Cora trusts Hamilton better defensively more than he does Christian Campbell. So they pulled Campbell out of the game after that hit. Hamilton is now at second base in the ninth. And so we did at least get a little glimpse in there as to how they view Campbell defensively and that he still needs some work. And I'll add that the game has now gone final. The Red Sox have beaten the Texas Rangers here on opening day behind 2 home runs from Wilyer Abreu. Garrett Crochet, a no decision. Aroldis Chapman will get the victory. But Abreu and Alex Cora, I would say, really the stories of this game. We'll take your calls. If you want to talk Red Sox here right away, post-game on 98.5 The Sports Hub, 617-779-0985. Danny's in a car. He kicks us off. Danny, what do you got?
So for you, Tony, excited for the baseball season. Glad to have you guys back. For you and Jimmy, I'll dial back the Crochet take on 20 wins, sub 2.5 ERA, and a Cy Young. I think you mentioned the other day, hey, maybe plus 15 I'll go over. So I'll go 18, sub 2.75 ERA, and definitely in the running for the Cy Young.
Okay, Danny, I'm going to stop you there. I look up. Here's what I'll say about Crochet, and I'm just really interested primarily in talking about the performance today. He was around the strike zone pretty much all day. He walked 2 guys, but I thought he got squeezed a little bit, at least on one of them. He was right at the knees with a fastball. The umpire called it low. He struck out 4. He was, put it this way. He wasn't good enough. Okay, he wasn't good enough, but it was opening day. He threw too many pitches. He did, however, keep them in the game. He only gave up 2 runs. He went 5 innings. And so from that standpoint, they're 1-0 when Garrett Crochet pitches. I would also say the Texas lineup is a difficult lineup to face. That's a good hitting team. They won the World Series 2 years ago. So I'm not going to sneeze at the outing. He needs to be better. He needs to get deeper into games. Throwing 47 pitches in the first 2 innings is not going to get it done. But overall, the Red Sox were down 2-1 in this game. Abreu hit a home run to tie it 2-2. They then got a big relief inning from Aroldis Chapman. Garrett Whitlock also pitched a couple of innings for them out of the bullpen. All in all, the bullpen gave them 4 scoreless. 4. So the bullpen was a question mark. It came through. Wilyer Abreu was trusted by Cora to bat against a lefty, drew a walk, and then as a result, 2 innings later, faced a right-hander with the game on the line and hit a 3-run homer. And then Slayton came in and closed it out. So good day for Cora. Good day for Abreu. Excellent day for the bullpen. And I would say Garrett Crochet was decent. Decent. I wouldn't go farther than that. John in Duxbury on Tristan Casas. Go ahead, John. John, are you there? Okay, if you're there, call back. We'll take your call then. You know the number. John is in a car on the strike zone. Go ahead, John.
Tony, you kind of stole my thunder a little bit. I mean, can we call the strike zone for what it is, please? Part of the problem with baseball games going so long, and I understand they've done some work with it, but it's letters to the knees. And if it's not in that perfect postage stamp, they all get squeezed. I mean, Crochet got it a little bit today. Not as much for Evaldi, but they got him a couple of times too. It is maddening. It would just be so much easier for everybody involved if they had some sort of a governing body that said this is the strike zone, and every day it's a different thing. It doesn't make any sense.
So, John, I didn't, I've been only able to watch the game with one eye. So let me ask you, what was it bad? Was the squeezing bad on Crochet or just a handful of pitches?
In the, I forget what inning he gave up. What the first run he gave up, but I mean, if they called the strike zone and that ball that they walked that guy on, that was strike 3, and the guy ends up scoring. But, I mean, it wasn't even close. And I thought, you said Crochet was decent. I thought he was a little better than that. But, the umpire was not good tonight. I'm not going to say he was terrible, but you got to be better than that. We are in the pros here, not just the players.
Okay, John, thanks for the call. Good to hear from you again. Must be baseball season. We're starting to hear from John in the car. I got to ask that guy what he does for work, Jimmy. He seems to be in the car all the time during the baseball hour. But I'll give you the finals on the Red Sox today. For Crochet, John says he pitched well. I would say decent. I expect more overpowering. 5 innings, 5 hits. So last year he was, below a hit an inning. Today he gave up 5 hits. I don't know if any of those were extra bases. I don't think they were. I think they were all singles. There was one, I take that back. There was one double by Higashioka, the catcher for Texas.
And that was a misplay by Abreu. It hit the wall, but if Abreu goes right to the foul pole, he catches that. It might be a leaping catch, but Abreu should have caught that double.
So that's a good point, Jimmy. I remember that ball from earlier in the game. And it did hit the base of the wall in the right field corner. And Abreu, and this is why I tell you I am cynical of the Gold Glove stuff. Abreu's a Gold Glover. He won a Gold Glove in the outfield last year. He stopped short on the warning track, and the ball hit basically at the base of the wall. Didn't hit the track first. It hit the wall. But a good outfielder makes that play, or a Gold Glove outfielder makes that play. He had a distance to run, but to me, he gave up on it. I think he thought the ball was going to hit higher off the wall than it did.
I think he thought it was gone.
The Red Sox finished 5 runs, 6 hits, no errors. The Rangers finished 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors. Again, the decisive hits of the game were the Abreu home runs. He homered in the 5th to tie the game at 2. That was a solo shot off of Valdi. That ball was completely annihilated. And homered off of Jackson in the 9th, a 3-run shot to make the score 5-2 for the Red Sox. Crochet, 5-5-2-2. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Again, you expect to see more than 4 strikeouts in 5 innings from Crochet. The Texas lineup did make him work, and I think it's a challenging lineup to get through. Also, a couple of other small things that I want to mention. The hit by Christian Campbell, which should have been an error. This is an obvious thing. Cora talks about it all the time, but it's worth mentioning. I know the geeks and the nerds don't care about strikeouts from hitters, but if Christian Campbell strikes out there, the ball doesn't get put in play and the Red Sox don't end up with 1st and 3rd. So put the ball in play, see what happens. Force the defense to make a play. The Rangers didn't, and it cost them the game, or at least part of the game. So that's number 1. Secondly, the Red Sox bullpen. Whitlock in this game. Let me give you the Whitlock, 2 innings, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Chapman, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Slayton, 1 inning, 1 strikeout. So 4 innings, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts for the Red Sox bullpen. Garrett Whitlock, not that you should be surprised by this, 23 pitches, 15 strikes. In fact, for him, I think he can even come in at a higher strikeout percentage. Chapman, 11 pitches, 7 strikes. For him, that's excellent. I mean, for anybody, it's good, but for Chapman especially, excellent. Slayton, 13 pitches, 9 strikes. So you add all those up in the final 4 innings, 47 pitches in the final 4 innings for Red Sox relievers, 47 pitches, 31 strikes. That's a good sign. It was a good performance by the Red Sox bullpen on opening day. We'll wrap it up with your calls when we come back on the Baseball Hour.
Great job by this bullpen. Crochet, maybe not on top of his game. The control was off a little bit, but the bullpen gave you 4 scoreless. They were fantastic. This was really all about Wilyer Abreu. And this is the deep lineup. Top guys didn't do much today. Maybe tomorrow's their turn.
Well, there's your final in Texas. Red Sox are 1-0. I'm going to squeeze in a couple of calls. Ian in the car, Noah in Kansas City. Just please be quick because I do have a couple of final thoughts. Ian, go quickly. What do you got?
Yeah, I just wanted to know what you thought about Devers going 0 for 4. You were worried about him mentally not being able to DH earlier in the day. Do you think that got to him today?
Okay, thank you. I'm going to get to that in a second. I'll tell you quickly, though, I thought he was garbage. Noah in Kansas City. Noah, what do you got?
Yeah, Tony, just wanted to know what you thought of Campbell today. I thought that play at second base late in the game where he missed it, I just feel like he really should have had that. Just wanted to get your thoughts.
Okay, so again, I don't know which play you're talking about late in the game. I must have missed it. I know there was one early in the game, but I'll tell you this. He looked shaky. And the bits that I saw, he looked shaky. I think Cora knew it. I think that's why they ran for him late, because they wanted Hamilton on the field in extra innings if they had to go there. As it turned out, they had the lead. Either way, they had the better defense at second base once they got the lead. Just a couple of quick things on this game. First of all, this is the smaller of the two. Devers is the second point. Wilyer Abreu missed half of spring training, went 1 for 20 when he did play, struck out 7 times. Today, 3 for 3, 2 home runs, and a walk was an absolute force. The next time someone tells you that you have to be in Florida for spring training for 6 weeks, tell them to F off. 3 weeks for a positional player is plenty if it's a veteran guy. He doesn't need more than that. A week of games, 2 weeks of workouts, he's good. 1 for 20, Wilyer Abreu. 3 for 3 once the game was for real. As for Rafael Devers, for a guy who has agreed to DH, he's going to have to do better than that. I'm trying to see how many total at-bats he had during spring training. It wasn't many.
I think it was like 12.
So I'll see, Jimmy, if I can find the exact number.
He looked terrible today with 3 strikeouts, all on curveballs, and he looks like he's leaning like he's trying to cheat. So he's got no chance on fastballs if he's just trying to cheat on breaking pitches.
So he had 14 at-bats all of spring, struck out 5 times, and Devers looks rusty. He's not, he looks like he's cheating on fastballs, as Jimmy said. He missed breaking balls. So I'll give you the overall count on Devers. He saw 19 pitches. 8 of them were balls. Okay, so that leaves 11. 8 were balls that he didn't swing at. Of the remaining 11 pitches, 1 was a ground out, 1 was a foul ball, 9 were swings and misses. So the 11 pitches he swung at, he made no contact on 9 of them.
That's not great, Mazz.
So, again, Devers does not look right. He didn't look right in spring training. He doesn't look right now. The games are for real. Somebody needs to get his head screwed on. Kevin Majori's got your headlines. Joe Murray will have you tonight from the Sylvan Street Grill. Is he joining us now or no? It's okay. He doesn't have to. Oh, there's Joe. Joe, you there?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Okay, I'm assuming you're doing Red Sox to start?
Oh, 162-0. Let it begin, Tony.
Okay, there you go. Again, Joe Murray from the Sylvan Street Grill. Kevin Majori.
We sure that's not Jared Carabas?
Kevin Majori's got your headlines. We'll catch you tomorrow. We'll have a full program tomorrow night.